coming to you from our studios on Kariaba Avenue. This is QTV Nightly News, and I am Andy Kema. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. On the third day of Meet the People's tour, as he reached the Central River region, President Adama Barrow announced more development projects to transform rural parts of the country. The Gambia's Interior Minister and Service Chiefs have commended the Geneva-based organization DCAF's contribution to the attainment of the country's national security reform targets. The University of the Gambia, in collaboration with Hamburg University of Applied Sciences in Germany on Thursday, held the first ever international all-African symposium on climate change adaptation meeting in the Gambia. In international news, after Liberia's President George Weah conceded defeat to Joseph Boakai in a tight runoff, the ECOWAS Commission President Dr. Omar Alieu Toure said it shows democracy is alive in West Africa, despite political and security challenges. In sports news, a Zambian family who have become a social media sensation because of the enthusiastic pot-banging support of the national football team have been rewarded with free tickets to all the World Cup qualifying home games. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV Nightly News. On the third day of his Meet the People tour, President Adama Barrow announced more development projects geared towards transforming rural parts of the country. Momodu Lamin Choi reports.
This is the third day of the Meet the People tour, and the president is beginning his tour at the Central River region. The joint meeting brings together people from Lower and Upper Salem and Nyanija constituencies. President Adama Barrow is given a warm reception as he is ready to directly interact with these Gambians on various matters, especially national development. The dialogue begins with Mustafa Njai, who, on behalf of the village heads, expresses appreciation for the development efforts of President Barrow's government, part of which improved access to water and for the first time brought electricity to the people of Kaur. Mr. Njai asked for more access to drinkable water to people in the surrounding communities. Alaji Gay, the chief of Lower Salem, highlighted development milestones government have delivered during President Barrow's administration. The chief also asked more boreholes to be constructed in the area to improve people's access to water. Hazim Sise, one of the speakers, who is also the Alcalde of Panjang, is concerned about soil intrusion into rice fields, which he said has affected rice production and productivity in CRR. Hamad Nkeba, Gambia's tourism minister, is originally from this part of the country. Like the constituents, he also takes the floor and echoes some of development challenges affecting the people, including poor roads and inadequate access to water, and calls on government to construct more roads, boreholes, and build a dry port in Kaur. President Adama Barrow addresses the gathering and assures them of his commitment to transform the lives of Gambians. The president informs the constituents that his government will construct roads in this part of Lower Salem as part of upcoming infrastructure projects. The head of state reveals that with support from the American government, a dry port will be constructed at the Kaur Wharf to ease mobility and commerce. President Barrow also reveals his government's plan to upgrade Kaur Hospital into a modern health facility and provide access to electricity to every part of the country by 2025. The next meeting is set for Kuntawur Fulakunda, where the presidential delegation is received by residents of the constituents of Nyani and Sami. Addressing the meeting, Ajiya Manjai and Bubakar Jalo identified poor roads, inadequate access to water, and lack of farm machineries, because tractors and power tillers are some of the challenges affecting them. Alaji Dahawa speaks on behalf of the Council of Elders and acknowledges development progress in the Sami and Nyani districts. Like other speakers, he launches an appeal for more development in some socio-economic sectors. The Agriculture Minister, Dr. Demba Sabali, speaks to the constituents of Sami and Nyani and reports on government's initiative for agriculture development in the Gambia by making subsidies for fertilizer and provision of farm machineries and thousands of kilograms of seeds free to farmers. President Barrow addresses the meeting again, outlining similar development programs that will transform the transport, agriculture, energy, and education sectors. One of these programs is to attain rice self-sufficiency for the country. The head of state hopes to work with the private sector, including the Kill Group, to boost rice production and achieve self-sufficiency in Gambia's most popular staple food. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
At the launch of DCAF's latest security sector reform project for improved security, migration and border management, the Gambia's Minister for Interior and Service Chiefs commended the Geneva-based organization's contribution to the attainment of the country's national security reform targets. Ansuma Esel Nyasi reports.
This latest project seeks to strengthen efficiency and accountability of the security institutions, especially the Police and Immigration Department, with a view to curbing irregular migration and strengthening border security. The project also seeks to complement efforts to strengthen internal security as enshrined in the National Development Plan and other national frameworks. Siaka Sonko, the Gambia's Interior Minister, applauds DCAF for being a dependable partner by supporting government in the implementation of projects that advance national development.
DCAF's completion of a 2.5-year European Union project in June 2020 has yielded significant achievements, enhancing the Gambia police force and broader security sector. From the development of various policy documents, including improvement of border management and the first ever police doctrine, to improvements in efficiency and accountability within the Gambia police force, but not limited, and enhanced oversight capabilities, the impact has been tangible.
On behalf of the Police and Immigration Department Chiefs, ACP Sambujang Fati and Chief Superintendent Murlamin Sanyang, respectively, highlighted how the project will enhance their respective institutions' effectiveness in delivering their core mandate and expressed gratitude to DCAF for their support.
As we speak now, we are in the process of developing our revised strategic national policing plan. And this plan, of course, is informed by strategic priorities, which absolutely are in line with DCAF support areas.
Whilst we focus on another DCAF project, GID will continue to collaborate towards a swift implementation of the project. The coming of the important undertaking is indeed timely.
Meanwhile, EU Ambassador Corrado Pampaloni and Ken Isaac of DCAF Banjul office reiterated their commitment to helping the Gambia realize her security sector reform objectives and went on to highlight some of DCAF's interventions over the years.
At the heart of this project is a synergy between the goals of the European Union and the government of the Gambia. We are not just providing financial assistance, we are contributing expertise and resources that are crucial for the successful realization of this initiative.
DCAF has been actively engaged in supporting the Gambia's SSR process since 2017 in the Gambia and spans a spectrum of activities from providing technical expertise to facilitating consultative processes and offering strategic guidance.
The project will include capacity building for police and GID personnel and the development and implementation of instruments that will ensure the full realization of the project. DCAF, the Geneva Center for Security Sector Governance, is an intergovernmental foundation-based think tank that provides research and project support to states and international actors in improving security sector governance and reform. Antoine Sonyasi for KTV News.
The University of the Gambia, in collaboration with Hamburg University of Applied Sciences in Germany, on Thursday held the first ever international All-African Symposium on Climate Change Adaptation meeting in the Gambia at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center. Loli M. Kamara attended and she filed this report.
Climate adaptation protects people and places by making them less vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Examples include protect against sea level rise and increased flooding. Given the Gambia's vulnerability to both of these threats, efforts to tackle climate change issues are crucial. As reported in the 6th Assessment Report, AR6, by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, Africa is one of the most vulnerable continents to climate change. The report reveals that climate change is expected to have widespread impact on African societies and Africa's interaction with the natural environment. Professor Sidat Yafa, Dean of the School of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences at the University of the Gambia, states that the symposium will provide an opportunity for Africa-based researchers to devise climate change adaptation initiatives.
So this is the first of its kind to organize the first symposium on climate change adaptation in Africa. So the Gambia, we're using Gambia as a pilot so that when we succeed, we'll roll it out to other parts of WASCAL member countries as a start and Africa in general.
Climate change impacts are already being felt everywhere in the world, including here in the Gambia, and increasingly adaptation is required. Countries are implementing adaptation plans for unavoidable impacts. Professor Pierre Gomez, the Higher Education Minister, and Professor Kayode Adeke, respectively, spoke about the need to integrate climate change adaptation into our education curricula.
Together, we can ensure that our higher education ecosystem becomes a beacon of environmental responsibility, producing graduates who are not just aware of climate change, but are actively engaged in its adaptation.
Our collaborations with Hamburg University of Applied Sciences is a testament to the power of international partnerships in tackling climate changes through research. Thus, together, we are enhancing the capacities of our staff and local communities, building resilience, and developing innovative solutions to the complex issue we faced.
Professor Walter Leal, the chairperson of Hamburg University of Applied Sciences in Germany, points out that this event is important as it can help foster information sharing on good practice for adaptation to climate change issues in Africa. He then stated the topics to be discussed.
The issue of climate change in land use, climate change in agriculture, how climate change influences water availability. These are pressing issues in Africa because the African continent is suffering much from climate change impacts.
The symposium brought together members of the UTG chapter of the West African Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use, WASCAL, and other stakeholders. It is hoped that the forum will offer them the opportunity to exchange views and ideas and foster cooperation, including around investing in climate solutions and mitigating the adverse effects of climate change in Africa. For QTV News, Slowly M. Kamara.
We will now go on a commercial break. When we return, we have international and sports news. Do stay with us.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the perfect place to promote your product or place your advert? Look no further than QTV. We are the premier destination for businesses looking to connect with Gambian audiences and beyond. At QTV, we offer a variety of advertising solutions to suit your needs and budget. With our diverse range of programming, you can be sure that your ad will reach a broad and engaged audience. From our popular news broadcast to our exciting music and entertainment programming, QTV has something for everyone. QTV, the premier destination for advertising in the Gambia. Contact us today and let us help you reach your audience.
Welcome back. This is QTV Nightly News. In commemoration of the International Children's Day, students of St. John the Baptist Basic Cycle School observed a minute's silence in tribute to children being killed in wars and read poems on issues about the violation of children's rights. Don Williams has the details.
World Children's Day was first established in 1954 as Universal Children's Day and is celebrated on 28 November each year to promote international togetherness, awareness among children worldwide, and improving children's welfare. The theme for this year is For Every Child, Every Right. As the world commemorates this day, David S. Williams, the Deputy Head Boy addressing students of the St. John Baptist Basic Cycle School in Farafeni, called for a minute's silence in memory of children that have been killed in wars across the world.
I am very much elated and sad at the same time. Elated because we are alive and coming to school, but sad on the other hand of children being killed in Israel, Gaza, Mali, Ukraine, USA and other parts of the country. Before proceeding further, I would like us to observe a minute's silence in respect of our colleagues that have died. May their soul rest in peace.
Reminding everyone about the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, he said this.
The UN Convention on the Rights of Children set out the rights that must be realized for children to develop to their full potential. It provides the foundation for understanding children as rights holders. In the UN Convention, it has 54 articles in total. Article 1 to 42 define the obligation of states duty bearers to respect, protect and fulfill children's rights as rights holders.
There were poems recited by Aminata Kande, Umi Sise and Mamandin Jawara, respectively, on various issues affecting their lives, such as right to name, FGM, and early or forced marriage. We also heard from the school's assistant Edgar Ami Sane.
World Children's Day was first established in 1954 as Universal Children's Day, as it is celebrated on the 28th of November each year to promote international togetherness, awareness among children worldwide, and improving children's welfare.
And Sekou Umar Keita, the head boy of the school.
This day doesn't have any significance because our right, our violence, no protection for children. Look at Gaza, Israel, and other parts of the world, whereby children have been killed. Here, children are seen as a beggar. Let the world in general give us maximum protection, then this will mean a lot.
The principal of the school, Daniel Gomez, addressing the students, said that they are not goods to be sold or exchanged.
You are not goods to be exchanged. You are not goods to be sold. So people should allow you to have that freedom of speech, freedom of choice and expression. But that is never the place. Instead, your rights are being abused. And this is where the whole world is now singing the anthem, so that you get to know your rights.
The theme for this year, Speak Loudly, but does every child given every right? Don Williams, QTV News, Farafeni.
We will now take a look at news outside the country. Barely a week after Liberia's President George Weah conceded defeat to his opponent Joseph Boakai in a tight runoff, ECOWAS Commission President Dr. Omar Alieu Toure said he shows democracy is alive in West Africa despite the political and security challenges. Alieu Cisse reports from Abuja, Nigeria.
Liberia's African football legend, President George Weah, is being praised and celebrated for conceding defeat to opposition leader Joseph Boakai after a tight runoff in the presidential election, even before the final official results had been announced. Something almost unheard of for an incumbent African president. ECOWAS Commission President Dr. Omar Alieu Toure said there is hope for the sub-region's democracy, which is epitomized by what he calls the peaceful elections in Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. Although the result in Sierra Leone remains disputed, the opposition have ended their boycott of parliament and taken their seats. The Commission President said the good showing of the opposition in these elections shows that democracy is alive in the ECOWAS region, and that change is possible through peaceful means rather than unconstitutional change of governments. While the region is seriously concerned about the political and security situations in the region, having seen a recent wave of military takeovers, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, President of the ECOWAS Commission, applauded the positive developments in the consolidation of democracy through the holding of free and transparent elections. He commended the Liberian people for the political maturity they showed during the recent concluded presidential elections.
Indeed, I congratulate Ambassador Joseph Boakai of Liberia on his elections. And I salute President George Weah for graciously accepting the results of the elections. Distinguished members of the Parliament, these elections and those before it have also shattered the narrative that political change in Africa is possible only through military coups. Nothing can be farther from the truth, especially considering the fact that the coup in Mali, the coup in Burkina Faso, the coup in Niger, all removed democratically elected governments that had been in office for less than 2 years. These military coups are not only based on fake narrative and false justification, they are also a driver of insecurity.
President Weah, being a former member of the ECOWAS Parliament, the ECOWAS Commission chief appealed to parliamentarians to initiate at both their national parliaments and the ECOWAS Parliament concrete actions to safeguard the region's democracy and to restore our region as the bastion of democracy in Africa. It is hoped that other leaders will learn from Liberia's lesson to avoid post-election violence and promote smooth transfers of powers. Reporting for QTV News from Abuja, Nigeria, I am Aliou Cisse.
We will now take a look at sports news. In sports news, a Zambian family who have become a social media sensation because of the enthusiastic pot-banging support of the national football team have been rewarded with free tickets to all the World Cup qualifying home games. Julia Njai report and is narrated by Ade Darami.
As the African qualifiers for the 2026 World Cup gather pace, many are getting excited and showing their love for their national teams. For a family of Zambian football fans, their devotion to the national side has reaped an unexpected dividend. The Football Association of Zambia has rewarded Lusaka-based photographer and lawyer Lovmo Kabwata, his wife Christine and her brother Heinz with free tickets for all Zambia's 2026 World Cup home qualifiers and gave them replica jerseys. The Mpoto family, meaning the Pot family as they are affectionately known, went viral in June when pictures of them using kitchen utensils to cheer Zambia as they battled Ivory Coast at the Cup of Nations qualifier emerged and became widely circulated. Their photos, which captured their infectious enthusiasm and unwavering support for Chipolo Polo, which is the nickname of Zambia's national team, quickly gained traction on social media, winning hearts and admiration across the country and beyond. Following Zambia's impressive 3-0 victory over Ivory Coast in June this year, the Mpoto family's support for the national team grew even stronger. Lovmo Kabwata, inspired by the use of their photo in a Football Association of Zambia advertising poster, took to Facebook to make a request. He wrote, "Dear Football Association of Zambia, I think the Mpoto family deserves incentives." He wrote, "Free tickets, jerseys. The Mpoto family loves watching football, travels for footballs. Others don't do that, but you give them incentives. I am sure you enjoy using us on your adverts." The Football Association of Zambia responded to the request and invited the family on Monday to their offices where they announced the free tickets giveaway. They were saying they were rewarded for upholding family values, abhorring violence at stadium, and for their passionate support to the Zambia men's and women's national teams, according to FES on their Facebook. The government has said that it will also reward them with tickets for an away game. For Lovemore, football was all about love, hence his support for the sport with his family. We want to see people embracing football, embrace each other, and regardless of politics and regardless of what people are saying. At the end of the day, Zambia is for all of us, and the Zambia national team represents all of us. When it loses, everybody loses. For QTV News, I am Ade Darame.
Before we end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. On the third day of his Meet the People tour as he reached the Central River region, President Adama Barrow announced more development projects to transform rural parts of the country. At the launch of DCAF's latest security sector reform project for improved security, migration and border management, the Gambia's Interior Minister and Service Chiefs commended the Geneva-based organization's contribution to the attainment of the country's national security reform targets. The University of the Gambia, in collaboration with Hamburg University of Applied Sciences in Germany, on Thursday held the first ever international All-African Symposium on Climate Change Adaptation meeting in the Gambia. In international news, after Liberia's President George Weah conceded defeat to Joseph Boakai in a tight runoff, the ECOWAS Commission President Dr. Omar Alieu Toure said it shows democracy is alive in West Africa despite political and security challenges. In sports news, long and medal distance runners from the Gambia won in both medal, and then the Zambian national team are really proud of a family that basically supported them. It's the Zambia family who have become a social media sensation because of the enthusiastic pot-banging support of the national football team that have been rewarded with free tickets to all the World Cup qualifying home games. That's all we have for you in this bulletin. Join us at 10 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thanks for watching.